Gender differences have always been the focus of the attention of various countries and the public, because gender differences usually lead to discrimination against women and trigger various social problems. Gender differences are reflected in gender social structure and biological and physiological differences. This video will introduce the issues of Chinese women through four aspects: birth, education, occupation, and family. First, China faces a serious gender imbalance. Influenced by history and traditional thinking, Chinese families usually prefer to have a boy. Since 1980, China has implemented family planning, that is, the one-child policy, which may be the direct cause of gender imbalance in China. Because of the preference for sons in Chinese families, especially in rural China, this idea is more deeply ingrained, because more men in the family usually mean more productivity. Artificial interventions in pregnancy, such as sex-selective abortion, early death, and abandonment, have led to missing girls in China. In addition, as a result of gender discriminatory treatment, girls generally do not receive adequate health care, nutrition, and more care, compared to boys. Girls are usually considered to be a financial burden for the family because money could have been used to support boys. According to statistics, 1 out of every 10 newborn girls becomes a missing girl. The disappearance rate of girls under the age of 7 has remained at around 10%. Because of gender discrimination, Chinese girls are deprived of their lives or basic rights. Estimates from the last century indicate that 35.59 million girls are missing, which is equivalent to the total population of Canada. The 2015 Global Gender Gap Report measured gender differences in 145 countries through four aspects: health, education, national economic participation, and political empowerment. China ranks last among 145 countries in terms of birth rate assessment, because the ratio of male to female births is 115:100. It is undeniable that with the rapid economic transformation in China, women live longer, earn higher incomes, and have more university-educated people than ever before. In terms of primary education, since China has implemented a 9-year compulsory education policy, boys and girls have equal access to formal education. Similarly, in terms of higher education, the one-child policy makes Chinese families willing to spend the same amount of time and money to train girls as they do with boys. The 2016 report shows that the proportion of women receiving higher education is approximately 53%. Therefore, it can be said that China's higher education has achieved equality between men and women, and the proportion of female students at school far exceeds the sex ratio of the population. Although women are not negatively affected by gender discrimination in education, or that men and women have the same starting point in the workplace, this does not mean that women and men have the same status in the workplace. A 2015 survey showed that female college graduates spent 3.7 months more to earn as much salary as male graduates. 30 years ago, when the country first started market-oriented reforms, Chinese women's income was close to 80% of men's. But according to the latest official data, by 2010, the average income of Chinese urban women had fallen to 67% of men's, and in rural areas, this figure had fallen to 56%. In addition, in the workplace, managers are eager to exclude women who may need to take maternity leave from the payroll. Since 2012, China has required companies to provide at least 14 weeks of paid maternity leave for women who give birth. The father usually has 2 weeks of maternity leave. This difference means that job advertisements often publicly state men only or men first. Although this is illegal, even government agencies do. An investigation by Human Rights Watch found that a Beijing ministry had more than half of its job advertisements in the past year as men only. Therefore, in recent years, opportunities for women to be promoted to corporate leadership roles have stagnated. According to the World Economic Forum's Gender Gap Report, last year, only 21% of Chinese companies had female executives. Since 2015, this problem has become more apparent. That year, the leaders of the Communist Party of China worried about the economic impact of the slowdown in population growth and ended the one-child policy and began to allow all couples to have second children. But this has greatly weakened women's inherently disadvantaged position in the workplace. Many women are faced with the choice of having children or working. In an official survey in 2017, about 54% of women said that they were asked about their marriage and childbirth in interviews. Finally, in the family, women also suffer the same unequal treatment as in the workplace. Chinese Confucianism and traditional concepts seem to naturally require women to take on more housework and more responsibility for taking care of children and the elderly. On average, women spend 15% more time in the family than men and 9% less time at work than men. After entering the marriage, compared with men, women's working hours have not changed, but the time invested in the family has been increasing. In addition, domestic violence is another important manifestation of gender inequality. Domestic violence includes physical harm to a partner, mental abuse, financial sanctions, and coercive sexual behavior. In 2018, according to data from the China Women's Federation, one woman in China suffered domestic violence every 7.4 seconds. In addition, on average, women choose to report to the police only after 35 domestic violence. More than 30% of women must worry about the safety of their lives at home, and many of them choose to remain silent, so this number is just the tip of the iceberg.